Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, I'd like to discuss a little news article I saw which involves a lawsuit in America, in California, against Twitter, which the courts will have to, of course, refer to as X nowadays, thanks to some raging man-child. But anyway, part of the proceedings required that Twitter, or X if you insist, had to disclose the list of investors who helped Space Karen buy the platform. And would you believe it? This list, quite a large list, this list of investment groups includes those involving the sons of Russian oligarchs with very close links to Vladimir Putin. I was so surprised. I bet you were as surprised as I was. I was stunned. Stunned I was. So anyway, really short one here, but actually quite important. So the specific oligarchs involved, they're not simply like Russian billionaires who happen to do well out of Putin's patronage. One is, in particular, is effectively the guy who lobbies for Putin's interests in America and has done for years, Petr Aven. He has been extremely close to Putin for a long, long time, way before Putin became president. According to reports, he was actually instrumental in Mad Vlad actually becoming Russia's president, as opposed to ending up in a Russian prison. Essentially, he's a guy who seems to live to empower Putin, right? Joe Lonsdale, who founded the investment fund 8VC, which is linked to these guys, has come out claiming, any link between Putin and Musk's purchase of Twitter is far-left propaganda, that these oligarchs were on board for their skills, not their familial links, blah, blah, blah. Vaguely odd, because some of the biggest voices on the far left parrot the same Putin narratives, only for free. But anyway, despite my theatrics, it's not remotely surprising that some of the funding raised by Musk to buy Twitter effectively came from the Russian government. That this individual was involved should be a huge red flag. Obviously, it explains Musk's willingness to amplify Kremlin talking points on the platform. This is not restricted to defending Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but all of the various ways in which Putin is attempting to destabilize the West, from fanning the flames of xenophobic and racist hatred to suppressing any commentary that runs counter to that narrative that he's pushing on Vlad's behalf. Musk talks a lot about the fact, I'm just free speech. I'm not suppressing anything. It's like, yeah, he is. He's suppressing a lot of things, just not the things that he wants to push. We talk a bit about how Russia is interfering in UK politics and has for many years. The Conservatives, who until recently had been in power here for the last 14 years, had taken huge sums in donations from Russians very, very close to Putin. In government, we know that they told our intelligence services specifically not to look for evidence of Russian interference, because a parliamentary committee have told us that. Boris Johnson, who was heavily compromised, was made Prime Minister. The Conservatives knew he was compromised, but made him Prime Minister anyway. And the Tories almost let him get away with burying the Russia report completely, as well as putting a Putin oligarch into our parliament. But it's not just the UK. Putin has a measure of control over Trump, over Le Pen, France. He has, at least in the past, had some control over Meloni and Wilders as well. And of course has got Orban firmly in his pocket. He's infected European and American politics. He's infected the media. At what point are the political groups who aren't influenced by him, some of whom are in power in their respective countries, going to wake up and work together to dismantle his networks, to see it as an urgent problem? An urgent problem. Because many governments in the West, they're fully seized of the seriousness of what Putin is trying to achieve, like in particular the invasion of Ukraine at the moment. Not enough to take part in direct military action, of course, but still, they're not wanting this to succeed. But part of the efforts, they're not just military support for Ukraine, economic sanctions against Putin's network. And yet, they allow the families of oligarchs to travel around Europe and America, donating to political groups and funding other causes that help them destabilize those countries. They allow them to own media organizations or control those who do. I mean, if it wasn't obvious before, it should be now. No amount of cajoling is going to get Twitter to take its responsibilities seriously, right? The action that, for example, our government are talking about to get social media companies to deal with this information, they may work on some social media outlets. They're not going to work on Twitter. It's going to do nothing to suppress the plague of Russian bots you get at crucial political moments. It's going to do nothing to remove the disinformation from the site. The only active action that Twitter ever takes is to suppress the real information. You know, people like Musk need to be seen as Kremlin agents, and Putin needs to be seen much more explicitly as the most serious threat to global stability. There's a lot of talk about the threat that a Trump presidency poses. But why is that such a threat? Because he'll be doing exactly what Putin wants him to do. That is why Trump is such a threat, because of the puppet master behind him. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe for further content and click the like button. You can also sign up for memberships if you'd like to support the channel further. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.